Hello again, this is the last part of Lab 7 tutorial. We need to create this power supply drawing, and we can start with the ladder diagram. As we can see, it's made up of 5 rungs, some simple and straightforward components, and then we have these two custom built components. So I'm going to go back to drawing, open the power supply drawing, and ladder. I need 5 rungs starting from reference. First reference is 1. OK, and place it. And as you can see, that is what we want to create. So sheet is sheet number 1, and then rungs 1 to 5. I have 2 DS or disconnect switches which are identical. So I'm going to go to the icon menu, push buttons. This is motor control, breakers and disconnects, fused disconnect. So we'll go here again. Be careful with the object snaps. Place it, and this should say power supply protection. Okay, and it's the catalog information. We might as well put it now. The S1 is made by Moiler, and part number is 015410. So look up. Manufacturer, uncheck AB, check Moiler. OK, and then enter 015410, and there it is. OK, repeat. We're doing a second one here. Again, my grid snap is not snapping to the wire, so I'm just going to turn it off. And there's the second one. And this time we're going to call it panel protection. This is the S2, and there is also the catalog information. I will just say OK. Alright, notice that rung number 2 has nothing, so this should not go on rung number 2. So I'm going to go right click and then move component to this rung. Notice it has rejoined this wire and properly connected this component here. Notice again that 5 is not there, so I can trim both 1 and 2. Okay, now I can do the receptacle. Again, icon menu, miscellaneous receptacles. This is a single receptacle, and we'll bring it a little bit to the right. And there is no description and there is no catalog information, so we'll just say OK. Then I have this panel switch, panel light switch. Again, icon menu, miscellaneous. We also need this panel light, so enclosure light, we'll just place it there. Let's see, I don't think we have panel light catalog information. It's LT1. Yes, we do actually. LT1 is made up also of, made by Moiler 205312. Look up. Manufacturer, Moiler, OK. And 20513. 20513. 205.312, and there it is. Okay, go back again to icon menu, miscellaneous switches, and this is the type of switch I'm looking for, normally open. And this one, we're going to call it panel light switch. PLS1, there is no PLS1 in the materials list, so we'll just say OK. Now let's do a wire connection between these two and trim. That basically takes care of all the components except this one. Now we need to make this as a custom component. Again, let's do a quick save and enter into symbol builder. We don't have a symbol built yet, so we can leave everything as it is and just say OK. You can minimize this. We don't need these tools. And let's look at the lab specifications and see the dimensions that we need to provide. The rectangle should be 0.5 by 1.7, so I can go home here, start a rectangle, and then go at 1.7, comma 0.5. Actually, that's for the smaller component. This one should be 2.5 by 1.3, so I'm going to undo the command again. So it should be 2.5 by 1.3 at 2.5 comma 1.3. Zoom in a little bit. Okay, and let's go back to the drawing. I've got all this annotation. I want to make sure that the annotation is set to annotative. If you don't see it here, you just go to the text style, make it annotative, and make this 0.04 as stated in the specifications. There's that 0.04 of an inch, which is really very small, but we will rescale the drawing and that will take care of enlarging it. Also, it says use Arial type text, so we're going to change this to Arial. Apply, close, and I'm ready to start writing these labels. Okay, so notice, of course, we must set this to 1, 2, 3, the annotation text scale. Start, and then we'll open. We'll say DC power supply, DC power supply. Just open it a little bit. And then 120 or 240 volts AC input / 24 volts DC output, 10 amp max. Let's center. Also all the lines, and that looks good. And then I have 240 or 24 volts. Sorry, this should be 240 volts AC. The output should be 24 volts DC. So another one, 240 volts AC. Input, enter, input. Don't worry about placement, we'll adjust it later. And one last label, 24 volts DC output. adjust it. Okay, now let's do the connectors. You can either do a simple circle, or you can go to the schematic and go icon menu and then connectors right here, and we'll choose round connector. Make sure your object snaps are on. Make sure your midpoint is turned on. Let's place it in the middle here, and then we'll repeat the same command. Do another one on the other side. Repeat the same command. Do one right in the middle at the bottom. One more time in the middle. Another one in the middle. Now I don't need this, so I can delete it. Notice it did not rejoin because this is not a wire. It's not recognized as a wire, so we'll just delete one part and extend the other to the quadrant. Okay, these, don't worry about these will be done outside. So we need connectors now, and we can also adjust position of the text. Okay, and connectors are found right here, wire connection. It says left or none. We need a left connector here, we need a right connector here, and bottom connectors for both of these. So it says left right now, which is okay. We'll click on insert wire connector, pick the left quadrant, and then escape or spacebar, and this time drop down the menu and say right or none, and click from here and go to the right side. Again, escape, and then we'll go again and say bottom, connect, lower quadrant, and escape, and that pretty much completes it. And we'll say now close the block editor. I need to pick up or define a base point. I can pick it up from, let's say, this point. If you keep it generic, that means you cannot do catalog information. And we can pick power supplies. Okay, and also we can choose where to save the drawing file for this symbol, as well as the image file. But before we continue, if we're going to have catalog information, I have to enter at least some of these tags. So I'm just going to say cancel for now, and I'll put tag. Let's call it PW for power supply. And then let's put some cat information, drag it and place it. It doesn't show it, it's not going to print. And then also we'll drag a tag. Okay, and let's try again. Close, choose a pick point, and then we'll call this power supply. And you can change the identifier, but I would recommend just leave it as AutoCAD has chosen it. But you need to identify the location where you want this to be saved, and I suggest you save it in the same project folder that you have created. Say drive. So I will go to the location of this project. Lab 7, and we're right here. Okay, and I'm going to choose all of it, copy, and go to the image location and go paste, That should be okay. It says, do you want to insert it? I'll say yes, and we'll insert it right there. Notice what happened. The snapping has interfered and sent the part to the middle. So I'm going to say delete component, and notice it did not join, so I'm just going to go undo, and this time I'm going to insert the component. We'll say browse and go to where I saved it. And there it is. Notice how that middle comes up, or midpoint snap comes up. So I'm going to turn this off so I can place it as I'd like to. And you can see it has connected properly. There's no need for any descriptions. We don't have any catalog information to put. We'll just say OK. And that completes the first one. Again, let's save and go to the symbol builder one more time. For this one, really, you don't need a custom symbol, but since he says custom symbol, let's do it and use the same procedure as we have done before. Again, you don't need this toolbar. And let's go to the home, and then rectangle. I think it's at 1.7, 0.5. Okay, we'll do a line here in the middle. Let's turn on object snaps. Let's place a circle, then copy it from the center. Let's go mid between 2 points. There it is. And between these 2 points, shift right click, mid between 2 points, between here and there. Escape, and let's get rid of this and get rid of the line. And that's basically it. I need connectors from the bottom. Let's place the connector, quadrant, and quadrant. And that's basically it. We'll leave this text to be done outside. And you'll see the reason why for that. So let's say close, pick point. We can pick any point, really doesn't matter here. Again, make sure that you place it in the same folder. Okay. Do you want to place it? Yes. And let's place it at the top somewhere here. And that's good. Now I need to say AC power sources, and notice what happens. 1, 2, 3, scale, and AC power source. It became very, very small. And that's why in the instructions, in the specifications, it says you need to change it to, I think it was 0.1 right here. Change it to 0.1 inch. So we go to properties, annotative, and text height 0.1, and there it is. Let's adjust it. and then move it. Okay, we'll do a quick save, and we're almost done. We just need to do sources and destinations. So let's go to schematics, wire, from the bottom quadrant, click here and go to the other one, and then trim wire. Okay, the first one is okay, the second one should be neutral. So change to neutral, okay. We'll choose that one, enter. And then we'll do the same thing here, wire, bottom quadrant, click, go to the other bottom quadrant, trim, and this is the positive side, this is the 0. Change 24 volts DC, okay. And then the next one, 0 volts DC, okay. Now we need to do sources and destinations. So this is source. We're going to identify the end of this line as a source, and let's use code 1, and we will call this 240 volts AC, and we'll say okay. It says, do you want to insert matching destination? We'll say yes. Matching destination is going to be right here. And notice what happened. Notice these question marks. We'll get to that later on. Alright, let's do the next one. Source arrow. This one, let's call it 2. And it's going to be called neutral. I'll say okay. Yes, we want to insert. Let's go here. And one or more wires on destination wire do not match. Of course, all of them they look like power lines. So we'll say yes, update destination wire layers now. And you can see now all this side that is connected to the neutral are following the same color, which is what we want. Now let's do the 24 volts DC. So source, let's call this 3, 24 volts DC. I will say okay, and this time we'll say no because it is on another drawing. Let's do the last one. This is 0 volts DC, okay. Okay, one more time, and we need source destination, not this one. Source and destination 4, and this is 0 volts DC, like that. Okay, we'll say no, this is fine. Let's save, and now let's go to the PLC inputs, and this time we'll say define destination arrows. So we'll say this is the destination arrow, I want to put it here. I don't need to enter new information, I'll just say pick from the project. I need to pick this one. We'll just say okay, okay, and it has entered the destination. We'll do the same thing for the other wire. Again, pick from the project. It should be 0 volts DC. Say okay, okay, and there it is. We'll save and go to the outputs, do the same thing. Project 24 volts DC, okay, okay. And notice if your information is beginning to overlap, we can do something like, for example, scoot, which is pushing the part to the left so that all of this information, or we can click on this and move some of this text. Okay, right click, scoot all of the components. And there it is. Now it's farther out. Maybe you say this is too far out. Yeah, you can scoot it back. Let's put this down. Again, right click, scoot all the way, all components. Let's do one more time. Scoot all. Okay, it's not seeing that. This is fine. This is now close enough, and the text is separated well enough. So let's do the last destination here. Project 0 volts DC. Okay, and let's save. One more thing we need to do are these line numbers. This time we need to use line reference as mentioned in the instructions. So we'll go to the first drawing and we'll say wire numbers, line reference, and we want to do it project wide. Okay, do all. Okay, do a quick save. Notice all the question marks have disappeared. And now we have all the wire numbers as required. This one, let's save it. There's the outputs. You see all the wire numbers, including this one. And let's see now. PLC outputs, same thing. Then finally, the bill of materials. Of course, there are no numbers there, but the DS1 and DS2 are not here. Let's make sure we save everything. A good way to do that, to make sure that everything is saved, is to close them temporarily. If it says, do you want to save, you say yes. Yes. And here we go. The project is still there. Let's open this and the bill of materials. By the way, you don't have to open all the drawings to do bill of materials, because the software accesses all the drawings in a given project, even if they are not open on the screen. So we'll go to reports again, bill of materials. Okay, do all. Okay. Okay, let's hope it works well this time. Okay. Put on drawing, and it says update. Yes, okay. And close. You can see DS1 and DS2 are there. Of course, now we have the bill of materials has gone a little bit farther out of the limits of the title block. So what we need to do is to rotate it by 90 degrees. And notice what happens when I do that. I go back home, then rotate, and let's choose this one, for example, and go 90 degrees. Enter. Notice that it's still wider. So I'm going to undo. And before rotating, I'm going to adjust the column widths. And you can see, using these handles, we can adjust the table. Like, for example, this one, can move it this way. Object snap off. this one, maybe we'll just make it a little bit wider so that it doesn't break. I like that. And this one. Okay, let's try it now. Rotate anywhere 90 degrees. That may work out. Let's see. Move. That is still slightly off. And notice that even in this position we can do some adjustment. Okay, that looks good. You can make further refinement, just move it a little bit up. And that looks good. We'll just save. And now let's go back and do some scaling work on our drawings. Okay, like for example this one, we can move it to there, and now let's scale. Spacebar or enter, somewhat in the middle, and that looks okay. Again, save, go to next drawing, double click. You can always turn off the grid. We'll take the whole thing, move it to the center, scale, spacebar from the middle, and just enlarge it enough so that it still is within the available limits. Let's try one more time. Maybe it was a little bit too big. Space. That's good. Another way of doing this is actually to use a scale factor. Or for example, if I go back to this drawing, and instead of visually doing it, I'm just going to go scale from the middle and say 2.5. And it looks good. That's a scale factor of 2.5. Move from the middle, slightly up, and save. Let's go to inputs, choose scale somewhere in the middle, 1.5. That looks good. Save. Do the last one. Double click the wheel, turn off the grid, zoom out a little bit, center it. Okay, scale the whole thing, and spacebar somewhere in the middle, 1.5. And again, if that's too much, you can try 1.4, for example. Say 1.4, and that looks good. Save, and that's basically the whole thing. That concludes part 3, and that's lab 7.